Hello and welcome back to another episode of Ask Vixen. Today we're actually talking about the difference between spellcasting and rituals. This is actually going to be a very short video because this doesn't require a whole lot of explanation. Very simply, spells can be done during ritual and spells can be done outside of ritual. However, ritual is just ritual. When it comes to ritual, this can be done on a daily basis, such as a morning libation or a morning offering. For those of you who don't know what libation is merely an offering of food and drink. With ritual, it's more intricate. There's a lot of preparation involved. There's a lot of various different formulations that are involved, such as who's going to be doing what if you work in a coven, or if you're doing it on a solitary basis and you want to perform a ritual. There's still a lot of involvement that you have to put into it. Whereas with spellcasting is just a little bit more simple. Like I said before, you can actually incorporate it into a ritual, being the main focus around, why the ritual is focusing around that, such as a healing ritual that incorporates a healing spell. However, it's not absolutely needed. Now, one of the things that I find interesting is that when people teach how to cast a spell, usually it's purify yourself, purify the space, create a sacred circle, do an invocation, which is calling your elements and deity, raising energy for the magical working, grounding out the power, giving thanks, and then closing the circle. And then, of course, you also have to incorporate timing, symbolism, effort, and intention, as well as your experience and level of knowledge and your present state of being. However, that setup is actually more based around a ritual than it actually is a spell. Spells don't actually require you to cast a circle all the time. Certain spells are actually better without the circle. People like me who are constantly on the go, we are forever moving around, doing different things. We look for that kind of point and go kind of thing, whereas if you really want to, you can actually incorporate the ritual aspect into doing a spell casting, but with practice and over time, once you build yourself up, the circle and building up all that energy isn't actually needed a lot of the time for spells. Personally, like I said, I'm always on the go, so I'm more of a point and go kind of person, or I'll whip something up together with pure intention of what I want to accomplish, and then set it out and release that energy over long periods of time. A good example is actually the mojo bags that I hang next to my door. I have one for love and one for peace, and I also have a piece of devil's shoestring over top of my door. It protects from intruders. It protects me from negative people that want to come into my home and create disruptions. And over time, it creates a very balanced, peaceful, loving environment within the home. And that's a spell. It's an herbal spell, but it's still a spell. Did I cast a circle? Did I raise power? No. I did not. Actually, as a matter of fact, I put a lot of time and effort into researching which different herbs that I needed to put into my mojo bags. I spent at least an hour working out the sigils for each individual bag that I have. And I guess some people might call that a ritual, because that's what I do all the time when I'm getting ready to cast a spell. But I personally don't consider it an everyday ritual kind of thing, by any means. Because I do this so frequently and so often, not just for myself, but for people that I care about, that it's just second nature to me. Whereas in an actual ritual, for me, I have to bring myself into that moment. I have to change my mode of thinking in order to perform a ritual properly, to put enough energy and enough emphasis in certain areas during the ritual to build and maintain the energy that I am collecting together to do within the ritual. Another thing too is that rituals usually have very specific intent directed behind them. Otherwise, the ritual doesn't actually take place. A very good example is drawing down the moon. God, there's so many of them. Any holiday rituals are another good example. There's one more that I'm thinking of. The Great Rite. The Great Rite is very specific. And these rituals can function without spells, which sets them apart, actually. You can incorporate spells if you want to, but it's not actually a necessity. A lot of people think that casting a circle every time they cast a spell is a necessity, but as I stated a few minutes ago, that it's not. It does help in focus, it does help collect energy, it does help release energy over a period of time, and of course this is just good for general skill building, if you will. And it's just, in general, it's good to know, especially if you're trying to build yourself up to become either a first degree initiate or you're just learning on your own. Building these skills is an absolute necessity in order to continue to practice a lot of the time, especially in coven matters. Not so much necessary for the solitary practitioner, though. And that's really it. I mean, spells are completely different for the most part from ritual. There is a lot of overlapping, but in and of themselves, they are completely separate. Okay, so I hope this helps clarify a little bit. I'm sorry if I kind of ran off and did a little ramble there, but as I stated, I'm busy, always on the go. And this makes coffee cup number 4 today. So I'm kind of amped. Anyway, guys, remember, be blessed. And always walk in the arms or the path of the goddess, depending on what you personally prefer. Anyway, this is Lady Silver Vixen. I'm signing out, guys. Peace.